It's a product that doesn't get a lot of airtime, but you believe so much in it.
And what's important about vitamin K2, MK7 is it doesn't have, in terms of blood clotting, it's not the form of vitamin K that plays the role in blood clotting. So vitamin K2, MK7 is something that plays an entirely different role. It's an entirely different molecule.
Right.
We can't confuse the two because vitamin K1 will not provide these benefits.
If you'd like to discover it, we'd love for you to.
And by the way, it's called vitamin K because the whole family in German, the word for coagulation begins with a K. Oh. So vitamin K1, which has everything to do with coagulation, which if you're taking anticoagulants, you don't want to take vitamin K1. Although that's a whole nother longer discussion that one day I will do a video about, because actually you do want to supplement K1. You want to create a steady, stable amount of K1 in your body and then take the medication that you need, because then if you consume K1 as part of green leafy vegetables, which you shouldn't have to avoid, you're not going to have that impacting your clotting. And of course, it's also important, it's been shown that low vitamin K levels are one of the side effects of taking these different anti-clotting drugs, so these blood thinners. So it's something we all have to pay attention to. I'll do a video about that in the future because there's all sorts of great science and something that you'll be able to talk to your doctors about.
If I was just half as smart as Andrew Lessman, I'd be a very happy guy. I tell you, very happy. Maybe if I take Andrew's next product, it's going to help me think sharper with memory and brain.
No, my parents blessed me with a good brain.
They really did.
And I'm grateful, and I try to, as my parents said, long before the Spider-Man movie came out, sort of with a good mind comes great responsibility. What did they say in Spider-Man? It was great, with great power comes great responsibility. Yes. No, but they always, because I was kind of lazy in school, they always said it's, you have a responsibility. You need to use your brain and use it well. Your brain is a lethal weapon, Andrew Lessman. There's no doubt about it. Hopefully not a lethal weapon. Hopefully, in a good way. Hopefully something beneficial for me and others, yeah. Well, what happens to those of us who, and I think I speak for most of us, where we have those fuzzy days. We have those days where just nothing seems clear. We don't seem to be as sharp as we were. This is a product that can help that, correct? Well, it's the principal product I make in that regard. As we talked about the acetyl L-carnitine before, it's something that we added to our original memory and brain formula. It contains the botanicals, and one of the hardest things, I just read an article today about sort of that so many of the different ginkgo biloba products you're going to see on the market, botanicals in the market, they're not properly standardized. They have inappropriate ingredients in them. That one of the hardest things in making this product is ensuring that what's in the product is what's in the product, that we can meet the standardization on the label, and we have to often reject materials because we test and assay everything that comes to our company. But what you're looking at here is a comprehensive formula, our most comprehensive formula in terms of supporting memory, concentration, mental acuity, to support us in the face of the normal changes that occur as we get older. I haven't felt as though I've experienced any of those yet, and I'm not as young as I used to be, but I think the main reason is that I'm doing all the right things, and this isn't at the top of the list of the right things you can do. The best things you could do in terms of maintaining your mental faculties is staying physically active, as physically active as your body permits, and that might just be moving around a little, walking around a little. So physically active, trying to be as close to your optimum weight as possible. Two very straightforward things that we never really associate with our brain health, but isn't it fascinating how our society has been struggling with neurological health over the last few decades, and as a society, our obesity and overweight is getting worse, our vitamin D and B12 deficiencies even worse. So of course this product delivers both of those nutrients, but again, it's something that we have to be cognizant of, not just a supplement that can deliver support and promote the benefits in that regard, but the things we could do in terms of how we eat, and certainly a diet, more omega-3s in the diet, substituting other animal protein with fish, because fish delivers omega-3s, and omega-3s, guess what your brain is principally made of? Omega-3s. Right. Our omega-3 product, we talk about the fact that it focuses on DHA, because DHA is 65% of the weight of the brain. It's almost 2/3 of the weight of the brain. Who knew? So unfortunately, the way we eat traditionally in America, I was raised sort of in a meat and potatoes household. I've had to adapt my diet based upon the research and the science I read if I want to be as healthy as possible.
Well, we have 16 minutes left and we still have about 7 more items, and we're going to